welcome you all back to social class. We are dealing with the history chapter, Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So we are at the last topic of this chapter, that is the global influence of the Russian Revolution and the USSR. How the Russia has influenced the whole globe to have socialism. So that is what is this topic. So the global aspects of socialism has come into existence because of the Russian Revolution. Okay, so this Russian Revolution has brought a lot changes in the society, and it started giving importance for the workers, and the socialism was the idea which was being spread by the Russian nation. Socialism means where everyone should be treated equally. So because of that, you can find in the 20 years, you can find many countries. They formed the Communist Party of Great Britain. So different European nations started forming their own Communist Party. This is just an example I am giving you Great Britain. There are different other European countries which started forming Communist Party of their own. So that was also happening. Then you can find that the Bolsheviks encouraged the colonial government to experiment. So it has given them ideas to experiment how the socialism is been working, how the socialism is been functioning in their own nation. So whether the socialism has been taken up in a right way or in the different manner. So that is, they started encouraged by the Bolsheviks. Then you can find many Russians, many non-Russians, they formed outside Russia. So many non-Russians were being formed outside of Russia, and they started participating in the conference of the people of East. And many have entered into Russian universities for their education of the Eastern universities. So they started entering into Russia. So similarly, you can find that the socialism started spreading throughout the European nations. And during the Second World War, you can find that the Russian ideology of socialism was being spread out throughout the European nation. Throughout the global, you can find their socialism is being spread. By 1950, they are saying the acknowledgement for the socialism has been spread, and it has been understood in different means in different European nations. So different people understood socialism, like socialism means not only giving for the importance for the workers, it is also for all the other peoples. But few other took up in different way that socialism means bringing importance for the workers. Like that, it was so much of variation was also existing, and the European nations which are away from Russia felt happy as well as inspired by looking into Russia. Russia was not that much big nation, or it was not that much wealthy enough nation also. But because of the socialism idea, it was able to develop its own economical aspect also, as well as the socially wise also it can develop. Then they felt that this nation has brought an proudness towards their own people, but you can find in Russia they did not have much of importance. The Bolsheviks were being felt differently in Russia. Differently means Russians were being forced to follow few policies in Russia because of the Bolsheviks party. But even though they were able to achieve great development in agriculture as well as economy, so it was being admired by the other nations. But still you can find that this ideology of socialism was not spreading properly to everyone, but finally even the Russians had the confusion that whether the socialism is being existing in Russia or not. So that is how they have been turned up. Okay, my dear students, we'll have a quick recap. So if you see, we are seeing the last topic of socialism in socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So in that last topic is the global influence of the Russian Revolution and the USSR. So in that you can find many people started forming their own communist party in the other European countries, not in Russia, in other European countries. So similarly, you can find the Communist Party of Great Britain has been formed. So they started encouraging socialism in their own nation also. And you can find Bolsheviks encouraged the Soviet communal to have experiment. Have experiment means to go into experiment to know which is good for them. Then it also said that the non-Russians formed their own parties, formed their own socialistic party outside Russia, non-Russians. Okay. Then you can find that the practice of the people in participating in the conference of People East was also held, where different region people participated in that. They entered into an idea of socialism through this conference. Then you can also find that it also encouraged the Europeans to enter into Russia for the education in universities in the East. For knowing about the workers' working condition, universities of work of East was available for them. Then, this socialist idea was being spread out throughout the European nations by the Second World War. Globally, the people know what is socialism. By 1950, you can find that they acknowledged the idea of socialism. What is socialism? So, the people in the European nations started admiring about Russia, how Russia was. Russia was a land-wise bigger nation, but the economical condition was also backward. It was really a backward nation, but it has been improved to a great power now because of the policies that has been implemented by the Bolsheviks party. So they were been admiring by that means, and they felt that this has achieved its own development in the economical as well as agricultural development has been achieved. Then people in Russia had a confusion that whether this is the real socialism that has been existing or whether this is the proper way of having socialism. So they had a confusion. But the other European nations would understand that socialism is being spread from Russia only. So few European nations took up few ideas of socialism in order to improve their own conditions also. So Russia is setting example for the European nations in order to develop its own economy as well as agriculture. So this is what is about today's class, my dear students. Remaining we'll see in the next class. Thank you, my dear students.